never really know that God is all you need until God is all you've got. He was sharing with me how when everything else seemed to be slipping away, he just found in his relationship with God joy, contentment, just in the person and presence of God. Think back to Job again. The calamities we talked about in chapter 1. Everything, including kids, all being taken away. You know what Job's response was in the last verse of Job chapter 1? He said, naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I shall leave this earth, but blessed be the name of the Lord. Even though everything is gone, things that give me joy, things that I love, things that are such blessings, even if they're gone, I've still got God, and God is enough to fill me up and make my life complete. Does that describe how your connection with God? Because it's such a challenge to me. If it all gets taken away, do I have the kind of walk with God, connection with God, that he's just so big inside of me that it's like, you'll still be enough. My heart is crushed, but God, you're enough. If we're on the rise, it's kind of how we feel. Yeah, all that good stuff, it's all gone, but God, I rejoice, you're sufficient. You're enough to fill me up. Habakkuk goes on to give us one other indicator that we really have God now in the center of our mind and emotions. And he puts it this way. I'll put it this way. Our primary confidence is God's strength. See, he says, this is the last verse of Habakkuk 3. He says, the sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights. Now, everybody who originally got that in that culture, in that day, in that part of the world, would have gone, whoa. We kind of read it and go, oh, feet like a deer. That's cool. What? But you see, there's a picture that instantly popped into everyone's mind when they heard that. And maybe this will help us capture the same picture. These are mountain goats. And I didn't really realize, mountain goats, they can go like everywhere. You can't climb that. Look, those are like babies, just following mom. That's 90 degrees, that's straight up. Look, you can't go there. And yet, not only is mom going there, can you see the kid going, seriously? Okay, that ain't working. Maybe there's a different way. Mom's just going on like, come on, let's go. You're a mountain goat. All right, there we go. It's like, it is unbelievable where they can go. These are ibexes. They would also have been familiar with these animals. And it's amazing with what? Slow motion. Check this out. How can you do that? Look at the size of that animal. 30 feet straight up. It just takes the jump. These animals, literally, they can walk on the side of cliffs. In fact, coming up here, here's just a bunch of them taking a little stroll. And I'm looking at this video going, what? I mean, this incredible narrow ledge with everything, and they're just walking on like it's nothing. With it back, it's like, you make my feet like deer's feet, and you enable me to head on to the heights. He's basically creating a very vivid word picture. He's saying, God, because you're my strength, I can go places that people could never go on their own. God, with your strength, I can go to heights that are unknown by mere human strength, ingenuity, wisdom, intellect, skill, ability. God, with you, I can go anywhere. I can do anything. That's the picture that is being presented. It's fascinating. It's like at this particular juncture, because the who God is has overwhelmed the whys of life, and he's become the center of my mind and my emotions, and now I just want God's glory, and I don't care what happens to me, it's just so you're glorified, and that's the really big deal. And it's like, God, I'm just so excited just with your presence. You just fill me up. You are so big and so perfect. And as long as I have you, everything in my life is just right on the inside. But then it's like, oh, and by the way, and as a result of that, because of you and your strength, I can do things mere humans can't do. Things considered impossible. I can fix that marriage. I can fix my marriage. I can reach my kids. I can reconnect with my parents. I can overcome that habitual sin in my life that keeps enslaving me and dragging me down. I can get control of my whole financial world. I can play a role of influence in this world that actually changes history for people and puts it on a righteous trajectory. I can do that because in God's strength, I can go to heights people cannot go to on their own. I can do things that would humanly be considered impossible because God is my strength. And I have a confidence that in Him I can do anything I ought to do and that He's asked me. So here's what I'm kind of wondering. If we know that we're on the rise, when God takes center stage in our minds and emotions, the questions are still there, the circumstances haven't changed, but they've faded in the light of who this God is that I've been wrestling. And because He's at the center of the stage of my mind and emotions, my primary concern is just that He be glorified. My primary joy is just spending time in His presence. And I have this primary confidence that with Him and through Him, I can do anything I ought to do that He's called me to do, even if it seems impossible. If that's what it means to be on the rise. Where are you? See, this is not fun. And to make the choice to forge ahead is not easy. And to wait on God, as we talked about last week, just churns the soul. But if we'll just persevere in it and do it, something happens to us. And we become fundamentally different people. That God can lead us to radically different places. And do radically different things through us in our world. And I believe that this, well, that's where we all long to live. That's who we all long to be. Maybe we haven't put the words on it. Maybe we haven't clarified the concept. But the life that somehow inside all of us kind of yearn after, that something more, there it is. Yeah, it's the only way to get there. And by the way, in the name of honesty, this is where the old graph ended right here. Because that one left out, yay! Guess what comes after a while? And then guess what comes after a while? But forging ahead, embodying the message of Habakkuk. Those who wrestle with God and wait on God are the ones who experience God in such a way that we really worship God with our lives and not just our words. I'm trying to be committed to that journey. What about you? By God's grace and by helping each other, we'll make it.